So this video is going to show how to set up the FactoryTalk for your integrator circuit here. So first thing we want to do is come down to our Windows search, and then we are going to put in Factory. FACT should be enough, and we want to select FactoryTalk View Studio. So we want to select this FactoryTalk View Studio. So once we do that, it's going to open up, and it comes up here and it gives you like existing, so you can open up previously created, but we want to create a brand new one. So I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to give this a name. So this is going to be my integrator HMI, and we can put a description here. For calculating energy, used in the resistor. And then what we can do here, PV Plus is the name of Alan Bradley's touchscreen interfaces, but I'm just going to run this on the PC, so I'm just going to select 1280 by 1024 down here at the bottom, and I'm going to say create, and it'll take a few seconds for that to actually create that. Now I've already got my integrator logic running over here. And well, this is an RS Logix 5000, but you can see that I've got this downloaded and it's actually running. And I've turned my voltage down so that it's not heating up that resistor too much right now. So I've just got my voltage turned all the way down and let the resistor cool off a little bit. But here are all my tags. So I've created these tags. You can see here's my current in microamps, and then I have the current in amperes, and I have the voltage, and then I have my power 2, my power 1, my power average, my energy. All these tags have been created inside of this program, and now they've been downloaded to the actual PLC, and it's actually running on the actual PLC. So now what I'm going to do, come back to my FactoryTalk. So our FactoryTalk window is open, and the first thing we need to do is come over here to the Communications tab, and we want to set up our Communications tab. So you see there's like this Ethernet here. I'm going to add device. And the device I want to add, I'm going to open up my RS Links to look at my PLC. Remember that the RS Links is the communication configuration software to show us the PLC. So I'm going to open up the RS Links and look at the network. So I have this network. So my PLC is this PLC here, which is 158. 10.101.201.158. That's the PLC I'm using. And if you click on the plus sign here and look at the, you can see that the Ethernet port is assigned to 01. So the Ethernet port is, it's for 1769 L23E QB1, and it's in effectively slot 01. Okay, so I'm going to go to Ethernet IP devices. Okay, even though that said Ethernet, I'm going to go to Ethernet IP devices, and I'm going to scroll down to 1769 1769 L23E QB1. Now notice there's a 19 and a 20 there. So let's come back over here, and if we do a right click here and look at properties, you can see it's revision 20. Okay, it's revision 20. So you need to use RS links to make sure that you are selecting the correct one. So I want to make sure I choose revision 20. And then I'm going to type in that IP address, 10.101.201.158, and it was slot 1. Okay, so I select that, and now you can see it here, and you can see that it's talking, and you can see that it's it's running my integrator program. So it's running the integrator program. You can see there that it's talking. And so now I'm going to come back to my application. Underneath the application down here at the bottom it says FactoryTalk Links, Communication Setup. So I'm going to double click on Communication Setup. And give it a few seconds to actually start up. And I'm going to create a new configuration. And now we get this. Now over here on the left it says device shortcuts. So I'm going to add a device shortcut, which is going to be my 158 PLC. So I'm going to say PLC, and I'm just going to put 158, which are the last 3 digits of the IP address there. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select the PLC itself. The PLC itself is slot 0. Alright, so I'm going to select that. Now notice that if I select something else, the apply button over here is grayed out. I can't. But if I click on the PLC itself, the applied becomes allowable, and I can now select it, and I'm going to apply this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map the PLC to this name here, PLC 158, and I'm going to apply that. Yes. Okay. Now this by naming this PLC 158, we know which PLC we're trying to communicate with, and that's what we're going to tie our tags to. Okay, so now I've applied that, but we're not done yet. Pay attention here. You must click on the OK here, or that will not work. So you click on OK and it will be okay. If you don't click on OK, then it's just not okay. So now I'm going to come over here to graphics, and underneath graphics there's several displays. We're going to start with our main display. And the first thing I want to do is add a start and a stop button. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select a momentary push button. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to draw that. I'm going to I pressed and drag and drop that. And now this is going to be my stop button, so I'm going to mark it as normally closed. I'm going to come over here to my states. State 1 is closed. State 0 is a 1 because I marked it as normally closed. And so I'm going to mark this, or I'm going to set the color of this to be like black. And the state 0, I'll just, I don't know, make that some kind of orangey color or something if you press it. All right, and I'm going to put a caption here. And my caption, I'm going to call this stop. This is going to be my virtual stop button. I might even actually label it virtual stop if you want. You can change the size of your font. You can make it bold. You can change the color. Okay, so we want to make sure that we can read this. I guess I'll make it black. That's the background color. I guess let me make the front background color white or something here. All right, and then if I hit apply, we can view that. Okay, and I guess I didn't. I need to label it for both states, whether it's pressed or unpressed. Okay, and again, you can change those font sizes and all that, and uh, various things like that. And then I'm going to come over to connections, and this is where we're going to tie it to our actual uh, tag inside the PLC. So notice I hit the dot 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 and it pulls up the tag browser. Now I have to refresh my folders because I just set up the communications. So you see that after I pressed refresh, you can see my PLC 158 came up. And now if we come over to online, we can go to program and we can see my program. Resize this so you can read the entire tag name. And I'm going to select my virtual stop button. So I come down here and select virtual stop and attach that. Okay, so that is my virtual stop. And then if I select another one, so I select another, or you could copy and paste the one you had, but I'm going to select another one here. This is going to be my start button, so it's going to be normally open. The color for state 0, no, the value is 0 because it's normally open. So state 0 is normally open, and I'm going to set the color to be green, and set my font, and this is virtual start, and bold, and apply that. Okay, or maybe I want to make that color black, something like that. Then I'm going to come to the connections, and under connections, that's going to be my virtual start. Okay, and so at this point, let's just take a look and see what it looks like here. So I'm going to come over here to the main program, and I'm going to click on my main display here again. I'm going to hit this play button to test the display. And so if we then look here, if I hit my virtual start, it should be starting my program, but I'm going to hit stop to make sure I reset it, and then I'm going to start it, and it should be starting and stopping my code. So here's my actual code. And here's my display. So let's see, if I press virtual start, you can see it turning green there. Let's see that, right? So I press start, and that starts. I press stop, and it's not energizing because my master timer is not being reset. My master timer should be being reset right here when I press the stop button, but I guess I don't have it tied to my virtual stop, only my physical stop. So if I press my physical stop, it'll reset. So I need to change my code there for that, so that it'll reset on either stop button. So let me do that. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put in a little parallel branch. I'm going to go offline, put in a little parallel branch here, and put my virtual stop in here. So either one will reset my integrator. Okay, so now when I press my virtual start, you can see that it's running the timer. And if I go to stop, it stops the timer. Alright, so I'm going to stop my testing of my display. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a gauge. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a gauge. And on this gauge we can set the values. Now I'm going to set this gauge to be for my voltage, which is really going between about 0 to 12. So I can set the maximum value. I'm just going to make 12. And then I'm going to go to my connections. And I'm going to tie this to my voltage. So I'm going to assign that to my voltage. And then I can label that. If I create a text, I could come over here and label this as voltage. Okay. And then I'm also going to throw a chart on here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a trend. I'm going to put a trend. And now when I set the trend, it can either be standard, which means it's going to change with time, or it could be an XY. Now I want this to change with time, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that change with time. And then I'm going to go, you can change whether it's what color it is. Your pins are where you tie it to your different tags. So if I come over here and I'm going to label this power average. And I can make that, you want to make it a color that if I have a black, we need to make sure that the color is visible there. And then I'm going to come to my x-axis and I want this to run for, I guess the time span, 2 minutes should be more than enough. My master timer start at 30, so let me drop it down to 1 minute for now. And I'm going to go to the y-axis and I'm going to set my custom values. We're doing the we can do, say, power and voltage. I guess I'll do power and voltage, so I'll set it from 0 to about 20 watts. And then I'm going to set my tag, so I'm going to have pin number 1 is going to be average power. And then pin number 2, I'm just going to throw in here voltage just to show you another one. So we're going to have voltage. Okay, and I'm going to come back to, so that's going to be a green color. Okay, so you can see there's my voltage is green and my power is yellow. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit play. and I'm going to test this, and I'm going to reset, and I'm going to hit start, and now I'm going to crank my voltage. So I'm cranking up my voltage, so you see the voltage is going up, and of course since voltage is going up, power is also going up. Okay. And so you can see the various values there as I adjust the voltage. Okay. So let me just kind of show you here. I'm going to adjust the voltage. So here is my, I'm going to restart this. And here you can see we got about 3.5 volts. Crank it down some, crank it down to basically 0. So the voltage has dropped down, so power is also dropped. Crank it up to say 5 volts. And it's bouncing around there a little bit, but crank it all the way up to 10 volts or 11 volts even. And you can see, remember that the yellow is the power, and it was only going up to 20, so it's maxed out. Okay, so, we can see that it's running there. So these are the different things that we can do with this software.